Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at round 2. We've made it through the first eclipse, the solar eclipse, and now we're gearing up for the full moon lunar eclipse that's going to be occurring on October 28th or 29th, depending on where you live within the world. So we're going to take a closer look at each life path number and what could be in store for the next storyline over the next 6 months from this eclipse that could be unfolding for you personally. This, of course, is a general reading. So if you would like a personalized reading to get a better understanding of how your own personal numerology plays into the aspects of your life, then I'd love to take a look. You can work with me one-on-one. My information is in the description box below to book some time. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So how's everyone doing out there? How was that solar eclipse for you all? This lunar eclipse, I think, is going to be a little bit more gentle in the way that it sort of brings things in and sort of allows it to unfold. That solar eclipse was a little bit more intense and held very intense energies that we'll also be working with over the next 6 months. So these will kind of be sort of an interplay, right? They'll be working together in tandem. But this will kind of give you an idea of another sort of perspective or viewpoint as far as another dose of energies that we'll be working with pretty significantly over the next 6 months to a year, depending. So let's go ahead and take a look at each life path number forecast for this full moon lunar eclipse. Life path 11-2. So for you all, you're going to be working with the energies of the 2 and the 3 for this lunar eclipse. And I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got crab energy. So it's interesting because this actually ties in with the 3 energy beautifully. So let's talk about it. So the 2 energy is really your life path number, right? 2 is your core energy. So you're going to be kind of working with your own energy in a sense with the 2. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because whatever comes in for that is basically what needs to for you to step into that core energy. But the 3 is interesting. This 3 energy is really about creation, about collaboration, about being in the spotlight, about being seen, being heard, not minimizing yourself or making yourself small, really coming out as authentically you in a big way without sort of hiding behind someone or something, right? So there's really this energy around this lunar eclipse that's trying to cut away at any sort of self-doubt, self-defeating thought processes, anything that's holding you back from fully stepping into the spotlight to be seen, be heard, be acknowledged, be recognized, even if it's not really what you want. And that's not uncommon for 2s and 11-2s, right? To really not want to be in the spotlight, but maybe kind of be more behind the scenes. But this energy is like, no, you've got things to say, you've got things to do, you've got things to contribute. And you can't do that from the shadows. Well, you could, but it's not going to have as big of an impact, right? And not as many people will be able to experience what it is that you came to share. So there's definitely something here about you, I wouldn't say seeking the spotlight, but not shying away from it when it finds you. So if there's something that you've wanted to do creatively, through your career or whatever, or just as a hobby that you've sort of been shying away from or procrastinating with because you don't really want all eyes on you, or you don't really want to sort of have that, be center stage. I would say this is going to be the time for the next 6 months to a year to really push yourself beyond the envelope, to really push yourself outside the comfort zone. I wouldn't say to push yourself so far outside the comfort zone that you sort of come screeching back in and are like, I'm never doing that again. Like, you don't want to get to the point where you traumatize yourself. But I will say, especially as an 11, your journey in this lifetime is pushing you to either your work or yourself have a greater impact in this world. So in order to do that, you have to be seen and heard and experienced, right? Or your work does. And so I think over the next 6 months to a year, you're going to see opportunities come in for you to be able to do that. But it's going to require you to be very decisive. It's going to require you to say yes to the things that make you nervous, that give you butterflies, that, bring up a tremendous amount of, self-doubt or imposter syndrome or whatever we want to call it. But those are the things I would invite you to say yes to just put yourself out there, to put your material out there, to put your contribution out into the world and let it fend for itself. Let it do its thing, right? Your job is the effort, not the outcome. So what I mean by that is we're responsible for the effort. We have to show up and we have to put in the effort. But we don't have 100% control over the outcome because there are unseen forces at play. There are other things, there are things that are outside of our control. And so all we can do is what we can do. But if we're not doing that, then we're not doing our part. So I do think that there's going to be some things that come in for you, especially because this lunar eclipse is happening in the sign of Taurus. And so this is a very independent, build your worth, when I talk about worth, I'm talking about your financial sort of security, that sort of thing, not self-worth. But build the things that you love, build your castle, build your security, build a good life for yourself, build all those things. And for you all, there's a big piece of that has to do with as long as it inspires you. And then in turn, it will inspire others because you are the inspirational leader, right? That 11 energy. But because it's in Taurus, I do think that there's going to be an emphasis sort of on career or building some kind of secure foundation or secure environment or, enjoying the finer things in life and giving yourself permission to do that, as well as knowing that you are ultimately at the helm of creating the life that you want, the experience that you want. Of course, there's outside factors to be dealt with, but at the end of the day, it's your choices that determine your experience. And so I do think that, especially with crab energy too, because when I think of crab, especially associated with the 3 energy, there's definitely something here about you coming outside of your shell. Because if you think about the crab, let's use the hermit crab. The hermit crab will continuously change houses as it continues to grow. Because it'll outgrow its original home, right? As it continues to grow. So it'll change shells to change its little home environment. And so I kind of feel like that for you all. There's something that you've outgrown or you're outgrowing that it's time to step out into the world to find a bigger home, and it's so funny because Taurus energy often associates with building your castle and, your home is your castle and you've built it. And, it's about, again, money, resources, the finer things in life. As well as, what brings us pleasure and joy because Venus, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus. So with crab energy, with this Taurus energy, with this 3 energy, and 3 energy also taps into the finer things in life, what brings us joy. It's all about joy and optimism and idealism and the inner child. And so there's definitely something here about you have outgrown something no longer fits. And so you need to shed it to find something that does. And you're going to be a part of that creation or creative process, right? Creating something that fits. So let's say that you're going to start a podcast. It's got to be your idea and it has to be what inspires you. If you're trying to sort of make it to be what others want or what others require or et cetera, it's just not going to fit. It's not going to fit. You're going to have to find something that does fit and you're going to be the one that creates it, basically. It's kind of like with the crab. It's not about going to find a house that fits. It's about building the house that fits. And so through your creative process, through using your voice, through putting yourself out there and your ideas out there and your work out there. This is definitely a very collaborative energy with the 3. And so this is a social time as well. So get yourself out there, say yes to those social invites, say yes to networking, collaboration, any of those things that help to get your name and your product and your voice and your creativity out into the world. I think you'll feel the pressure quite a bit, especially as an 11, because this is such a big part of your journey to get your inspirational ideas and creative products and all of that stuff out into the world, and your voice and all of those things in some way. So be very aware, or be very mindful of what comes in for you over the next 6 months to a year, because I think it's going to be pivotal, and I think it's going to be really, really important. And I do think it's going to push you outside your comfort zone. And I really think that you need to accept the invite and just see where it takes you. Be also very mindful of the people that you meet during this time, because again, this is could be a very social time, but these people who are coming in will be able to assist you in some way, will have sort of the pieces to the puzzle that you've been missing. So incredibly beautiful energy. And also with 3 energy, there's this very strong element of play, of joy, of tapping into your inner child and doing what lights you up. No matter, how other people take it type thing. So the next 6 months to a year, 11s, I would say, is about finding your next big house or bigger house, right? Or what fits, the next thing that fits that you're creating. So just remember crab energy as a metaphor, right? And sort of moving from what no longer fits, or what is confining you, what's restricting you, whether it's your thoughts or your environment or people, and how do you break free from that and create something that does fit? So big energy, 11s, big, big, big. So you have to accept the invite though. You could get a million invitations, but if you don't open any of them, then, there's not much that's going to come from it. So I hope it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful eclipse for you all. Take care, 11s. Bye for now.